Mm. Okay, welcome to part 2 of the cake stand video. I finally got my new resin, so really excited about that. I went ahead and ordered a good bit more than I will need because I have got some fun projects planned that I'm going to use this for. This is Stone Coat Countertops Epoxy. I've heard a lot of really good things about this company, so I figured I'd give it a try. I've got my piece here with the crack in it. The first thing I'm going to do is use my Dremel with some of these tiny carving bits on it to just clean this out and make sure there aren't any loose pieces that would cause the resin not to bond well. So I'm going to start with that, and then we'll get into picking the color and deciding the ratio and all of that stuff. Okay guys, so I've cleaned this up I think as best I can using some different tools. I think I've gotten most of the loose pieces out, so we should get a good bond here. The next step will be to tape this up, and I think I'm going to just turn this on its end and seal off this side and then just pour the resin in from the top, so hopefully we'll get a good clean pour like that. So let's get this taped. Okay, I'm finished with the pour here. You can see that color just looks really neat. If I can get this to focus on it, there we go. You can see the shimmer of those mica particles in it. So I think this is going to be a really neat accent color. Looks like everything is holding well here. I'm not seeing any leaks yet. So I think this is going to work out well. I'm pretty happy with the color so far, so we will tune back in after a while to see how it's looking. Hey guys, I just got the pedestal finished up. I took all the tape off, the resin set. I've done some preliminary sanding and put a little bit of oil on it just to get an idea. I think it looks really good, so here you go. Here's the piece. Got it all cleaned up really nicely. Had a little bit of overflow up here, and then down at the bottom I had to sand off with the Dremel. But I've done a lot of sanding with the Dremel and then cleaned it up with some 220. And I think this looks really cool. I like the way the gray looks against the darker walnut. I think it's a good accent, but it's also not too unnatural. So really happy with how this has turned out. I think this will be really cool once it's complete. But I got a lot more sanding to do on this thing. I got to get this pedestal totally sanded, and then the top. And then I'll be working on my dowel joints to get this connected together. All right, after a bunch of sanding, this thing is almost ready to be put together. This top piece does not have any stain or anything on it, and the grain is already just looking really awesome. So I am incredibly excited about this. The grain on this piece looks really incredible. So this could possibly be the greatest grain reveal in the history of grain reveals on this channel. My children seem to think so. Back at it again here for, I think, day number 4 on this project. I've got everything sanded. I went from 80 grit to 120 to 220. I've cleaned up the crack filled with resin here really nice. I've done a lot of hand sanding to level out this top right here. And I am getting ready to work on putting these pieces together. I'm just going to be using some simple dowels. And I have this special bit that has a stop on it, so that'll help me set my depth and everything. I'm just gonna, I think, put 2 here, and then I'll just inset them in the top. I thought about countersinking some screws and screwing this in from the top, but this top is just so beautiful that I decided I don't want anything to break up the grain in this wood. Okay, so I've drilled the holes for the pedestal, and then I've inserted these dowel centers here to help me line up the holes here. So what I did was I just flipped this piece over and then measured to make sure it was center, drew a circle, and then I'll just line this circle up with this and press it in, and these little brad points here will make the marks for where I need to drill my next holes. Before I pulled those dowels out of this piece, I reset the depth on my drill bit here, so I know this will be exactly how much needs to go into the top for the dowels to sit in. So see if we can get this leveled up and centered and go from there. Okay, so here, well, you can't see that, it's too dark. Let me move over here. Here are those 2 holes I just centered up. That will be where the dowels go on this top piece. This is glued up now. It is joined together with the dowels. Pretty good overall, I think. A little bit of a gap, but not too bad. I think it's gonna turn out pretty well. So we'll just wait for this to dry, and then we'll get to finishing it up. All right, it's been a few hours here. The dowel joint's dried. That's all good. I ended up having to put screws in the top because the dowel joints didn't quite go like I wanted them to. So I put 2 screws in the top, and that's got it. I mean, it is solid now. No wobble at all, so I'm really happy about that. Let me zoom in and show you what I did here. Okay, so I put the screws in here on the top, and I made these little dowels here. I just hand carved these with my Dremel. So I am just gonna peg those in like that with some glue, get them down, let them harden, and then I will come back and rip this off and sand that completely flat. So hopefully that won't look too bad. I carved these out of black walnut, so they should match. I think the color should be pretty close because it's from a similar looking piece of wood, but I think those are going to fit in there really nice and pull down tight and look just fine. So. Alrighty, it is the moment we have all been waiting for. This thing is put together, all the glue has had time to harden. I sanded off these dowels on the top and I think they look just fine. Everything's ready to go, so we are ready to do this grain reveal. Just gonna add the final touch here, just a little piece of felt to the back. So just gonna flip this over. And this is just, make sure, yeah, you can see that. This is just simple adhesive felt. I've used this on a couple other projects and this stuff works really well. So this will be the base here. Make sure we press that down really well. Clean off any dust. And there we go, guys. All right, this cake stand is done, guys. And again, it's just so incredible. I'm so happy with how this project turned out. Love black walnut. This is a unique project. Really was challenging in a lot of ways, but I just love the finished product. So thanks for tuning in on this video. Let me give you one final look at this awesome piece.